Welcome to the Wealth Matters podcast, where investors come together to better understand how to build passive cash flow and create generational wealth without all the confusing mumbo jumbo. Here's your host and co-author of Amazon #1 bestseller, Alpesh Pamar.
Welcome to Wealth Matters podcast. Today, I want to talk about one 9 unit property which we went full cycle last year. This, I would say, was my very first multifamily investment. Before then, I was only doing single family. And the reason I moved into multifamily or right now mobile home park or senior housing is because I wanted to scale up. The biggest problem with investing in single family, there are a couple of problems. One is that there is no scalability, right? So if I want to buy four doors, I got to buy four different house or maybe two duplexes or a fourplex, right? So I have to go through the entire process every time again. I have to go to the transaction. I have to find the property. So there was no scalability. Second was there is no diversification because if tenant in my one home stops paying, I need to start covering mortgage and all the expenses. So this were one of the reason. And the third reason is appreciation. A lot of people love single family because of the appreciation. For me, I don't like to speculate. Appreciation will happen over time. But on the flip side, because the comparables, your appreciation is not related to your property. It's because your neighbors sold or someone in your community sold a price at per house at a higher price. You are going to command that price for your house. Whereas in commercial world, and when I say commercial, it's still residential, but anything over 5 units is commercial, be it mobile home park, multifamily apartment building, or senior housing. Because of those, I don't care if my next door apartment building is sold for less or more, or mobile home park is sold for less or more, because my value of my property totally relies on the net operating income, the income it generates, and the cap rate. That and every area has specific cap rate. As of now, cap rates are compressing. They could also start going back up in case of recession. But overall, that's how I come up with my valuation for my commercial property. So that was the so those are the three reasons. And then on the flip side, the biggest problem with commercial, it's not easy to get find commercial. The second is it will be hard to acquire because you need a lot of capital. That's why we acquire properties using syndication or partnership so that a lot of people like us can get in one deal. Uh, Recently, we announced a mobile home park deal, a senior housing deal, as well as another deal related to cryptocurrency. So if you are interested in any of those deals, do reach out to me via email. And please do subscribe to the podcast on Apple iTunes if you are listening there. If you are watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can get notified when this video is released. So going back, because there were some of the issue or the cons I mentioned about multifamily, but I like the benefits, even the appreciation side. You can get a lot more tax benefits in a large apartment building than single family house. So this is why I started investing in 2015. I learned about all this, and then 2017 is first time when I bought my 9 unit apartment building, or I shouldn't call it nine apartment building, but a small 9 unit um, passive residential property. Even I'm going to share the address here as well. It was on 501 East Ridgecrest Boulevard in Ridgecrest, California. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm actually showing the Google map right now. So we purchased, my partner and I, who is very close friend of mine as well. He knew the area, so we decided to jump on it. In 2017, we paid around little less than 400,000, 390, 7,000 for this property, 501 East Ridgecrest Boulevard, Ridgecrest, California. and it was rented. All the 9 units were rented for about 550 a door, so we were getting more than 1% for our money over time. And then we also made sure, because they had chiller system, so we made sure that we kept on each unit we bought home warranty by Fidelity, so that as and when the AC system goes out, we are able to get it replaced by the home warranty company, because we knew that they will go out at some point. And funny, while we held the property, I think we replaced it on 3 different units. So it actually worked out really well, because that's pretty expensive, anything related to HVAC, as you guys know. So that was one of the good thing we had done. I think some of the lessons learned, I should have done little bit more research on the area. I thought it was B minus kind of area, but I looking back, it was more like C minus. So we had a lot of transient tenants. That was one of the issue. We never were able to see tenants who were there for a long period of time. For whatever reason, there was a lot of turnover. And if you remember, turnover costs a lot of money. Anytime you have a turnover, that's another expense. So I would prefer to charge maybe $100 less than, but I wouldn't want that tenant to turn over. Of course, I still want to get market rent, but less. If it was 550, we were trying to raise it to 600. And if I know that current tenant would stay there at 575 per month, I would go with that tenant, because that way at least I don't have a turnover. So we saw that we also converted it to some of the units. We had to convert it to monthly. That was one of the reason thing I saw. And there was another thing is, if you would have put a lot of money in rehabbing those units, you would have grabbed a lot more rent. Actually, that's what the seller, or sorry, the buyers are doing now. They are making them in immaculate condition, like really high end. So that's one thing. And I heard that we also looked into converting some units to into Airbnb. That would have been another business model to consider, because once we know there will be people in and out, why don't we provide them nice place to stay with fully furnished apartments, and they can be in and out. They can stay weekly, monthly, whatever, right? So those were some of the lessons learned. We tried to then overall the property paid, even though the cash flow was there, there was always some kind of expense because of turnover, right? So our cash on cash, I would say, every year was most probably 3 to 4%, not a lot. Still better than anywhere in California. But we knew that the property would go, appreciate, because we were raising the income at the same time. We tried to sell it in 2019, like perfect timing. And right after we put on market, Ridgecrest had a large earthquake. I don't know if you guys remember, but the military base over there was a big earthquake. Even they received FEMA money. So someone was under contract with us for to buy it for 525, and they backed out. And of course, you can back out because of natural hazard or anything, any kind of situation. So we lost that contract, so we decided not to sell it for 6 months. We put it back again on market after COVID last year, and we were able to sell it for 480,000. So we still doubled our money in 3 years. But lesson learned, that I think we should have kept it little longer, because looking back now, the properties have over there have skyrocketed as everywhere else, and the market is doing good. And somehow, sometimes the natural disasters, you never know, because that earthquake was so big. We knew we'll be able to sell this property, and then we just couldn't. So this was one of the thing I wanted to share with everyone, how I looked at that investment, what were some of the lessons learned. And if you search up on Google, you will see a lot of 2 to 2.5 star hotels are nearby. So that shows me that it's more like a sea area as well. But again, as in when you invest, you will always learn some lessons. And as long as you don't make the same mistakes again, you will be fine. I'll talk about another 9-unit property I bought right after this one. So this one I closed in March of 2017, and in December of 2017, I bought another 9-unit property in Birmingham, Alabama, market I love. I still like it, and I still hold that property. It's actually doing really good. Funny, I paid the exact same amount as the Ridgecrest property for the Birmingham property, and it was rented. The 9 units were already rented for 575, so it was netting me more rent. And we kept rehabbing the units. The 4 units we have rehabbed so far, and the rents on those have gone up to 625 to 650. So I'm going to continue to hold that property so far. If I get of course, a nice offer, I would sell it. But so far, I knock on the wood, that property is doing good. So if anyone wants to invest in Birmingham, Alabama market, do reach out to me if you need any help, or if you want to know more about that 9-unit property, feel free to email me. Thank you so much for listening and watching. And please subscribe to my newsletter on wealthmatters.com. We send out a lot of reading material, as well as we announce all our deals through our newsletter. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy.
Thanks for listening to the Wealth Matters podcast. If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes so others can enjoy the show too. Have a great week and happy investing!